the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast. We are so glad that you have joined us this morning, wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day here on Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. It's Brett and Faith here on a Tuesday. We are so glad that you're with us. We will take your comments as we always do. And look, we say this all the time. There is no lack of drama when it comes to covering Auburn. That's one thing about it. You know, you don't just show up and it's a cookie cutter day. Like, okay, we're going to go to practice. We're going to follow this 9-1 football team that's got a chance to go to the playoffs, and we're going to talk about injury report, and we're going to talk about, just the stuff that you would do if you're on track to, doing something positive. Nope, that's not what we do here at Auburn.
If only it was that easy, Brett. If only.
That's right. And just for your sake this morning, Faith, Faith's a trooper. She's going to battle through it. Look, hey, it'll be my turn. Trust me. I've done this for 30, almost 26, 27 years. God, it is coming up on 30, man. Wow. Okay. I kind of made myself feel bad there, but the weather changes and there's no explanation. You just wake up like at night, you're fine. And you wake up the next morning, you're like, what did I do? What happened? So Faith's gonna power through this morning. And I appreciate
it. Yesterday and my day I had yesterday, and it was literally 30 degrees all day. It was snowing in my car ride back with a shattered wind.
It was literally snowing in your car.
So everybody, I just want to go ahead and preface that my car was broken into in Nashville. So that's why yesterday was a little bit of a terrible day for me. And then I had to proceed to drive back in the snow with my window completely shattered. So if anyone has any good recommendations of where I can get my window fixed in Auburn, let me know. Willing to take them.
Yep.
Would love to get it done before the end of this week. Let me know.
It's our shirt. What can I say?
It's always something. Seriously, please somebody let me know where I can get my car fixed.
Yeah. Tubbs said 5 straight losing seasons and looking at 5-win season, and you got 10,000 followers in like a year. Job. Yeah, no kidding. It helped spearhead our subscription. So and our followers, no doubt. So we appreciate everybody, because
that's the best part of all of this, and that is where we have grown the best, because everybody wants to know what's going on.
And I don't think anybody knows what's going on. That's the crazy thing.
We're just not even.
Absolutely. There's so much to digest this morning. William's giving you
I'm literally writing it down. So please, everyone, keep everything coming in.
Right. So we're gonna get the window fixed for sure. But DJ Durkin speaking yesterday in Birmingham had some interesting things to say. This coaching search list is, I don't think there's anything different on this coaching search list than we've seen before. But I want to start with, what's been and what has been going on with this team. And I'm going to start with Jeremiah Cobb. Jeremiah Cobb, after week 11, is now the third leading rusher in the SEC with 904 yards behind Kewan Lacey at Ole Miss. He passed Mike Washington this week, obviously. And then Ahmad Hardy is at 1,046. I want you to go back and think about the games that Jeremiah Cobb pretty much wasn't even in existence. Like, one that stands out tremendously to me is the Texas A&M game, where we had 4 carries combined in the first half, and he had 2 of them. I mean, if you give this guy the football, like, why was it so hard for – and I'm trying to move away from Hugh Freeze, right? I'm trying to quit bringing him up because he's in the past. But you have to talk about him right now because of what a horrific and embarrassing job he did. Like every day that I move away from that guy, the more pissed off I get of the waste of talent that he literally in progress. Like, how in the world do you have the players that you have on this roster and you put up such a pitiful offensive performance week in and week out? And one of the major things that everybody's talking about when you go to the national scene, we are regional and local, obviously, because we focus on Auburn, but the national media talking about the number one attractive part of this job is this roster. Like Auburn's job is very attractive because of the roster they have. Like coaches are just frothing at the mouth to come and either take everybody away, like you heard DJ Durkin tell us Saturday in Nashville, or finding a way to keep this roster together because somebody with a brain can actually use these players like you saw on Saturday and amass tons of yards, tons of superlatives, put tons of points on the board. It's all been there the whole time. The more I get away from this, the more scammed I feel. And, you know, he had the best way, Faith, of making everybody feel like welcome and friendly. And, you know, you just – and you and I'd walk away and go, man, I don't want to dislike him because of, you know, he's nice and all that. But that's what people do when they're not doing their job. They have a way of befriending you and making you feel like, oh, well, you know, if I do this, they won't be so hard on me. But, man, when you get away from it, you go, man, this guy freaking scammed everybody. And it makes you mad.
Yeah, that's Twitter. You and I talked about it after the game in Vandy. We talked about Twitter and how Twitter was going crazy because you saw what the offensive coordinator was able to do with this roster in less than a week than what your offensive-minded head coach was doing with this team the last 2.5 years.
Right.
And to know that you've had Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, Jeremiah Cobb, you had Damari Alston. Granted, you didn't have a quarterback. The offensive line has still
Apparently we did have a quarterback, and he didn't know how to use him. I mean, because Ashton Daniels, not to cut you off.
Dating all the way back.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. But he goes out and gets, like, he was great at going and getting these guys. Faith didn't know how to use them. You know, it'd be like me coming up here and having a shipment, somebody ship me all the pieces to a car. And they're all high-quality pieces. And they're all top-notch parts. And you go, man, all of this stuff, when you put it together, you're gonna make the.
But you got me putting it together.
Well, you know, you got me putting it together. Like shipping it out here in a box didn't do anything. Like I don't know what to do with all these parts.
Tubbs just made a great point that we've been talking about that Kentucky game last year.
Absolutely.
When Coach Freeze was not able to get there on time and Derek Nix was calling the plays. Kentucky was coming off of a big win at Ole Miss and how that was a huge deal for them. Auburn goes over there, lays belt to them because they didn't have that messy, oh, we're going to call these last minute plays that we haven't been working on and what's not part of our game plan.
He walks into the room numerous times, had not been in this was told to me, and I told you this after it was told to me by a player on the team last year, that he would show up in offensive meetings and had not been there all week, and they had everything laid out and would go in there and say, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And they're like, well, that's not what, but that's what we're going to do. And now the more you're away from that, the more that obviously is what happened. And you look at it and you go, he was his own, like it was an ego thing. Like, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make the decisions. I'm going to make the call, regardless if it has anything. Even though it's going to disrupt the whole game plan of what everybody's worked on all week, I'm going to make these decisions. And it was so bad that's the proof in the pudding right there. And you and I had that told to us verbatim from a player, the exact same thing. And we've already talked about it before Tubbs brings it back up. But that happened. And everybody went, well, what in the world was the difference of going on the road and playing Kentucky than everything else prior to that? It was Hugh Freeze. The common denominator of how bad this offense was Hugh Freeze. And, I watched Cam like you did Saturday. That could be Cam Coleman every week. And we all were just scratching our head till it was bleeding, going, why can't they figure out a way to get him the football and let him make plays? And then the elementary response that DJ Durkin gave us in the press conference really summed it all up. When somebody asked him, well, what was the difference in the game? What happened? He said, we just went in and said, got to get the ball to the guys on the team that can make the plays. Well, what an epiphany.
But haven't we heard that before?
I don't know that we heard it like that, though. I don't know that we heard it like.
I remember there was a post-game press conference where he was like, yeah, we gotta try and do what's best for what's working right now. And, we got to get them the ball because they can make those plays happen. And it was like.
But he did nothing to try to get them the ball. Like, there were no play call designs to get Cam Coleman 8 to 10 catches. There were no.
It was the first game that Cam Coleman was actually scoring points. I think it really wasn't either the Ball State or South Alabama game.
Yeah, it probably was. I'm kind of just, it's all a blur to me now, to be honest. And I had gotten to such a point where I was tired of being fed the same response. But I don't want to keep belaboring this because I want to move forward this morning on some other things. But Ashton Daniels this past week, when you look at players with the most passing, rushing yards, and if you want to add receiving yards in there too, if you're a receiver, was third in the country this week. Now, Diego Pavia was first, but Ashton Daniels had 353 yards passing. He added another 89 on the ground. I mean, I don't. This has been there the whole time. It's been there, when I can. It's been there the entire time. And Ashton Daniels wasn't even the guy that was really in the conversation coming out of spring. It was Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight. Would Deuce Knight get play? So Gabe goes, maybe it wasn't Jackson's fault. I don't know what to say about any players anymore now, because I may have been Tubbs yesterday that said, well, what would we see out of Jackson Arnold now in a Derek Nix-led offense? Because guess what? The same guy that threw for 353 yards this Saturday, the week before, Bama, why don't you go flush it and go watch another podcast? That's a good there's a good bit of advice for you, because you ain't gonna dictate what the hell I talk about. All right, so Ashton Daniels the week before looked pitiful against Kentucky. Same guy that comes back and does what he does in a different offense. So that to me is the proof of, I don't know what's fair to evaluate on these guys and what's not, because maybe it hasn't been their fault. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. It is. Here's the thing that, just like you said, how do you know and how can you trust what you do and don't have when you've literally been fed nothing but a false narrative? And now that you see this, how are you supposed to just flush it and move on? Because, oh my gosh, you're right. What a wasted season we've had.
And just not being able to fix the problem. Like, again, it's easy to blame the players too. And I know everybody's culpable in this thing. I'm not saying that players can't go out there and screw up, but when they're put in the same situation time after time after time, and they're not getting coached up correctly, and it's all been on the offensive side of the ball. Okay, I mean, that to me, I think we have to take a step back and go, okay, maybe we need to do a reassessment of some of these guys. Maybe it wasn't completely on them. I mean, because we all were harping on Jackson Arnold for a long time about not getting the ball out of his hands, whatever. And maybe that's still a problem for him. But moving forward, okay, obviously Ashton Daniels, and there's more to talk about here about the quarterback position and how DJ Durkin, and he talked about it yesterday, how he's going to handle Ashton Daniels. Here's the bottom line. Auburn's had another massively disappointing season, and you've got two games left. Ashton Daniels, it'll be his call whether he wants to play in this game or not. If he plays in this game, he loses his red shirt. So I think they're going to have a conversation about that, and he will not play in that game. I don't think that's the smart. Just from his standpoint, whether he comes back to Auburn or not, he is losing an opportunity to play college football another year. So if I'm him, I'm sitting this game out.
So what are you doing? Putting Jackson Arnold in?
I'm putting Deuce Knight in, and I'm giving him the opportunity to play, and giving him I'm talking to him this week and saying, it's your game. It is your game, and you're moving forward. Now, if it goes to pot, obviously you got Jackson Arnold ready to go, but I think you got to start with roster retention and start thinking about the future. And, DJ Durkin made a point yesterday. He said, I'm here for the long haul. What does that mean? There's a lot of different things to look into when you say that. That means, he's into keeping this roster and building things. Does that mean he's in it for the long haul? If he doesn't get the head coaching job or not, he wants to be at Auburn as the D coordinator if he were not to get the head coaching job. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I don't know. I think you've got to really start where you are with this season and look at roster retention, how important it is to keep a lot of these playmakers here, because Auburn does. And that's, again, why I named the pod this morning what I named it, a wasted season.
The one thing I will say that I've noticed in practice, especially the last couple of weeks, and we're not going to practice today because we can't, but Deuce Knight does not look he's not as sharp. He doesn't look as, you see Ashton Daniels wanting to be there. Every single thing he does it with passion, and he does it with like aggression of, all right, I'm fighting for this job. And Deuce doesn't look as committed as he once did to this program.
And, but maybe that changes. Maybe with this.
I thought last week it would change. And he's still, I told you, I said, look at Deuce. He's like in slow motion right now.
Well, I think probably, let's be honest, and you and I've had this discussion. This isn't what he envisioned. He made a decision to come here. I don't think anybody envisioned this. And him being look, I understand waiting your turn and, playing the game and figuring out how to manage these guys now. And you have to worry about the portal and if they're disgruntled. I know you have to do all that, but the first and foremost responsibility of a coach is to win ball games.
Right.
And to take the talent they have and put them in the best position they can to win. And guess what? If you're winning football games, do you think Damari Alston wants out? Do you think Deuce Knight may be disgruntled? Do you think all of these guys? What about Malcolm Simmons? Malcolm Simmons, to me, has as much reason to be disgruntled as anybody. You go from last year, and he made some really big plays, to he's kind of been non-existent this year. And we saw him kind of emerge. By the way, I thought my prediction was going to be right on that one on the first drive where he broke that screen. I thought he's going to score. Of course, I punched you in the leg again like I did like 150 times Saturday because of big plays. And I guess I was just so excited that I hadn't seen offense like that. I just was like, man. But, he makes a couple big plays early, and then he kind of goes away again. But I understand the flow of the game gravitated to Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman and whatnot. You got to ride the hot hand. And Auburn was running the football very well too. bottom line is it doesn't matter who the guy is each particular week making the play, Faith. It's about whatever it takes that particular night to win the football game. That's why we were so excited, and I know we've said this a million times, leaving Baylor, because it's like, okay, we all thought this was going to be an aerial assault tonight, but it became a ground attack, and Auburn took what they gave them and won the football game, and it made us all feel like, man, okay, you know, it's going to be week to week. Whatever the defense gives us is what we're going to take, and we're going to be good enough on the offensive side to be able to win. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. So it's more about keeping people if you're winning, everybody's happier, obviously. And you're not listening to all this stuff, and you're not even talking about, hey, this guy might go in the portal. Whatever. If a guy wants to get in the portal, if you're 10-2, then go get in the portal, man. But it's different than when you're 5-7, you know, or 6-6. You know, when you're 5-7, 6-6, and you've done that multiple years, yeah, you need to be concerned about guys getting in the portal because people want to win.
I'm just thinking of Nico Imialiava and his situation last year of going and getting in the portal after not getting the money that he thought he deserved.
I think we all kind of laughed about that. I mean, look, that's another thing about the portal that all these kids need to understand that we've said a million times too. Hey, the grass ain't always greener, man. Hey, look at Squirrel White. Left Tennessee, go to Florida State. Go look at his numbers this year. You know, was that a good decision for Squirrel White? Look, I know a lot of people go, well, Eric Singleton left Georgia Tech, came to Auburn. What do you think he's thinking? Well, Eric Singleton's had a pretty good year. Like, he's been the constant. Like, he has been targeted a ton, and he's had opportunities to make plays. Even though Auburn hasn't won, he's been very involved in the offense. Like Squirrel White's numbers are down so bad, it's like eye-opening. Like, they have forgotten he's even on the team. So there's different deals. And, yeah, Eric Singleton, if he'd have stayed at Georgia Tech, obviously a lot better situation from a team standpoint in winning. But he got in the portal for whatever reason. He was the number one. There again, Faith, goes back to what we're talking about. It ain't about talent. I mean, we gave Hugh Freeze all the credit in the world about going out and building this roster to what it is. The problem is he couldn't do anything with it. And he was so stubborn and refused to change what he was doing that he just decided to say, hey, let's just take the whole ship down. If it's not going to work the way I want it to work, I'm just going to take the whole damn ship down with me. And that's basically what he did, to the point where you scored 3 freaking points on Kentucky, and you had to make a change at that point. So, all right, let's talk about some of our partners here on the program, because they make us give us the ability to do what we do every day, and we appreciate them. Sensagreen.
Sensagreen for air that's cool and clean this fall during dollar days. Call Sensagreen for major discounts on HVAC repairs and installs, plus insulation with Professor Greenbacks. Get HVAC smart at sensagreen.com through Thanksgiving with up to $100 off HVAC repairs, $500 off insulation work, and $1,500 off a new HVAC system. Sensagreen with Carrier, turn to the experts. How cool are these coupons?
Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, and they work with all types out there, municipalities, educational institutions. I'm watching them in progress of a 3-year project with a new high school right now, and they were in the leadership role at the beginning all the way now to just a couple of months out from this finished product. And, man, they are the reason it is being done the right way. Scout Program Management, full management firm, taking you from the pre-construction phase to the finished product. If you have a project on the horizon, you need to get them involved. They'll make sure it's done correctly, and you'll be glad that you did it. I promise. I've watched them. They're the best in the business.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. Everybody needs to head over to Bunkers. go eat over there. They've got a new menu that they've updated some things. We were just there. It's really good. And they've got a lot of live music, great happy hour deals that you literally cannot find anywhere, especially in downtown Auburn. So head over to Bunkers, 50 parking spaces downtown. You will not regret it.
No, you will not regret it. We'll get to some of these comments. I know there's a bunch coming in. And we'll dive into those. Let's talk about this coaching search, because obviously we're going to talk about this till we're all blue in the face and everybody. We said it yesterday, Jason. I said it. The rumors, and you're going to hear all this stuff, especially with Auburn having an off week this week. But let's be realistic about this list. And obviously, the name that came out from the beginning was John Summerall. And look, I don't know. I mean, in the past, historically with Auburn, the guy that you hear first never gets the job, ever. Never. Now, you go back to all these searches, and the one that you hear right out of the gate never gets the job. Now, that could change. Has the culture really changed at Auburn? Look, I heard what John Cohen said. You heard what John Cohen said. Look, got to take a man at his word. I'm all about that till he proves otherwise. But there's no part of me historically before John Cohen that doesn't believe one iota of there were multiple hands in the cookie jar from all different angles, boosters, donors, whatever, former players coming in saying, this is who we need. This is who we need. I give this much money. I want to have a say. And they did. And Auburn's never been on the same page. And whoever the AD has been under pressure from different places and not able to really just take the whole thing and look at it from a 30,000-foot view and really make a good decision. There's so many elements that have been involved in the decision. So John Cohen has taken his words and put himself out there on the table by himself and said, I am the committee. And everybody's used that quote, seen it a million times on social media. So he has taken ownership of this, and he pretty much said, whoever is the coach, I picked him. Now, there'll be some people that have some input, but it's my say at the end of the day. So mindset-wise, realistically, Faith, you and I came up with a list of guys that we feel like are realistic for Auburn. John Summerall, yes, he's definitely realistic. Kenny Dillingham, realistic. Rhett Lashley, realistic. Why is Rhett Lashley realistic from SMU? Because he's been at Auburn, and I think, he's got a great deal going at SMU right now, but I feel like, he would entertain it. And I think that he understands playing in this. Like, he's on the brink of going back to the playoffs again. So as much as people want to say, I don't know about Rhett Lashley, he was here. It was the same situation with Gus Malzahn as it was with Hugh Freeze. Neither one of them would turn loose of the reins of the thing. We don't really know how good Rhett Lashley was as an O coordinator because Gus Malzahn was too busy interfering himself.
Yeah, being the one that was getting in the way of all of it, for sure.
So Rhett Lashley, okay, again, these are mine and Face opinions, okay? So you can have yours, and we've done the research, and these are the ones that we feel like are realistic. Not saying any of them even get the job, but these are realistic. Eli Drinkwitz, history at Auburn. What's the common denominator here? And people can say whatever the hell they want to say, but Eli Drinkwitz, Rhett Lashley, Kenny Dillingham all have ties to Auburn. John Summerall is from the state of Alabama. So you see the common denominator here, what we're working with, guys? Okay. All right. Some on the outside, like outsiders, if that's the Alabama boys, okay, unofficially. All right. The ones that Alex Golish from South Florida, That's one of the things that you look at. And I had somebody tell me yesterday they saw him fly in. They saw an Auburn jet fly into Birmingham this past week, and all of a sudden Alex Golish shows up, and they go and they get in they go and leave and get in the car and drive off. So has he already talked to Auburn? Has Alex Golish already been met with Auburn? Maybe, possibly. Now we're hearing Kenny Dillingham this week. Oh, it's definitely going to be an interview with Kenny, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wouldn't be. Like there are agents. There's things that you go through. You may not talk directly to the coach, but you're talking to the agent, and you're saying, all right, what's it looking like? What's it going to take? All this kind of stuff. Or you may be sitting down or zooming in with somebody. You don't know. It's all different ways of doing that now. So then there's that. And then you got a couple of guys that I think are on the outside. I think Clark Lee and Brent Key are definitely outsiders. I think they're in the mix. I don't know how much James Franklin is in the mix. That's my question. I mean, he's kind of the guy off to the side, and it just kind of, he keeps getting brought up, but I don't know how much he's inside. But I've already told you, and you and I both agree. Just no Jimbo Fisher, please. Whatever.
No, please.
Whatever.
No, whatever Auburn does, that would be, again, another big mistake that they have made.
All right, what's the one name we haven't talked about yet?
Lane Kiffin.
Not Lane Kiffin. I don't think that's a possibility. DJ Durkin. The guy that's in the program right now. The guy that just spoke at the Birmingham quarterback club yesterday morning, that's out there representing Auburn right now, that's out there trying to keep this program together, that's out there trying to retain this roster, that's out there auditioning for this job right now. Is he realistic? Is he gonna realistically be given a shot at this thing? Or is John Cohen, is he going, thank you, coach, appreciate what you're doing? Is there anything that he can do in these next I know Mercer is just Mercer. And look, with the way Auburn season going, probably they could easily lose. I'm just saying. You wouldn't think so, but who the heck knows? But you got Alabama coming up, and, Alabama's got some offensive struggles going on right now. Their defense is playing way better now. But the offense seems to have kind of hit a little bit of a stumbling block, which, they'll probably look like the 85 Bears when they roll into Jordan Hare in a few weeks, but that's fine. But the bottom line is you got two more games if you're DJ Durkin, and then you've got the element of what's his relationship with this roster and how important is he. And then the element of all the people you and I are hearing from of like the other side. I gave two sides yesterday, Faith. I gave the extremist side of everybody saying, clean the house, get rid of everybody, including Durkin. He was part of the Hugh Freeze culture. We need to clean the whole place, fumigate it, and get all brand new people in there. That's one aspect. Then the other aspect is DJ Durkin was the one integral piece in this whole deal that was the shining star, and did his job. And through 16 ball games, he's put an elite defense on the field outside of Saturday, where he had to take over as head coach and some things probably took a step back. And in the player relationship, how many are talking about how good and how important it is to keep a lot of these players. I mean, that's the two extremes right now with it.
Yeah, there's no question. And you see how invested DJ Durkin is with all of these guys that is already on, like that are already on the team, and how much just this past week that he spent time with these offensive players, that he's invested into these guys. And that's something that you want in a coach, whether he's the head coach or he stays as the DC. I mean, it doesn't matter. You need somebody that is so invested into these guys, like DJ Durkin has proven to be.
And I do like his personality. I think he's a really good guy, but I think he's very passionate. I think, players saying they love a coach, they love a coach that's not their buddy, that loves on them, that knows that they're there for them and cares about, but it's going to coach their butt up, for lack of better terms. They're going to get after them, and they're going to try to make them the best version of themselves as they possibly can. That to me is when a player really has respect for a coach and loves a coach, because it's not about, oh, well, he's yelling at me, I don't like that guy. It's, the ones that really matter, like a Keldrick Falk and some of the guys that have come out and Kieran Crawford and some of those guys come out and say, hey, I think he's the best coach on the staff. And you and I watch him get in all those guys' faces.
Yeah. I'm trying to look and find. Okay, Tubbs earlier said DJ's old school, and I think he is. And I think that's, in this day and age, one of the best qualities you can find in a coach. You obviously have to learn the recruiting part of it because that's so different and new. But to have an old school coach that makes you work for what you deserve, I think that is one of the best parts of having an old school coach or somebody that is,
I still think there's a desire by a lot of these kids to be coached up. We live in a prima donna society.
Think about the way of the world. We were talking about it on the way up here. The way of the world now, something that you don't like, you just go and you move on, because guess what? There's something else out there. That's just, today that's what things are, but that's just not real life. You're not getting anywhere personally if you're out there just not being able to take criticism and grow and move forward. If you want the quality kids and you want a quality coach that is going to say, hey, this is what you got to do to earn your position. This is what you have to do on and off the field to be a better person. DJ Durkin is that guy that has shown that.
There's a reason why I think you see a lot of character flaws in some of these kids moving forward beyond, because they're not held accountable. They're not held to their feet aren't held to the fire. They don't have to persevere through things. And look, people can say Nick Saban was a hypocrite because now everybody's kind of on an even playing field, so he got out. I think there's probably some truth to that. But I also think that these kids, the way he wants to coach kids, he can't coach kids like that anymore. And so not the majority of them. Like, that's going back to what you were saying about DJ Durkin being old school. I still think there's a faction of kids that want to be coached like that, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to be successful in this day and age anymore. And I love that style of coaching. You know that.
100%.
And so, I said this when I posted the video of DJ Durkin last week. And I think it went crazy because people just loved watching him and what he was doing. And you and I said, that's not him putting on an act because we were all there and that was his first time for the media to see him in a head coaching role. That's what he does every day. You and I, we could have gone over there and filmed that anytime we wanted to film it and pushed it out, because that's who DJ Durkin is. And I think K Small said it. There's a difference in screaming, yelling, and beating kids up versus DJ style. Hey, man, he gets after you. And just because you scream and yell doesn't make you a good coach. Will Muschamp has been screaming and yelling and punching whiteboards and acting crazy for a long time. It didn't work at Florida and South Carolina for him. Now, I think he's a good coordinator. I think he's a good football coach. It doesn't necessarily, because you scream and yell and you're all over the place, makes you a good head coach. But being able to be passionate and defend your team and show some life on the sideline does mean something.
Yeah,
and the emotion,
no question.
The emotion you and I saw in that press conference room and in the video of the locker room with those players, Faith, he wasn't, that was not an act, man. No. Like, that guy truly is emotional. And you and I said it. I said, I don't care about us and the media and the fans in the stands. Like, these kids, man, deserve better than this. And they are still playing extremely hard. I think everybody needs to understand that. There is no moping around. I don't see anybody that is quit. on this team that just going through the motions. They're all out there just giving it hell, and it's just Ashton Daniels said it in the post game. He said, man, for some reason, things just don't go our way. And he says, look, we're right there. And I know people are tired of hearing that, but he said it just, you just feel like at some point in time, you keep doing the things that you're doing. You keep showing improvement that you will make that play. And Jason and I kind of broke it down yesterday, Faith. Auburn lost that game in overtime, and they did play better offensively, and they made some plays on defense. But if you want to clean up and you want to win a football game, don't have 12 penalties.
Yeah.
When you start looking at stats, you go, all right, there's still a lot to clean up. And if you clean some of this stuff up, we'll put you in a better position to win a football game. Now, did Vanderbilt only get 3 penalties in a game and 0 holdings? Give me a break. I mean, come on, man. And I do, and people can say I'm crazy and whatever. I don't give a crap. Here's what I think. I think that you're looking at a Vanderbilt team that's 8-2 now, and with 2 games against Kentucky and Tennessee left, there's no part of me with a team like Auburn that's got a bad record that an official that you and I watched him stare at Amaris Williams get his shirt torn off on a first down play from the 20-yard line, and the head official stared directly at it. I was in the same line he was, and he chose not to throw the flag. Now, I'm not bitching about calls, okay? I'm just saying on this one particular call, he made the choice. He looked at that play. He knew it was a hold. He just decided not to throw the flag. That was a first down play that only got 7 yards. But guess what it did do? It spearheaded a drive for Vanderbilt to go all the way down the field and score a touchdown. How does that drive end up?
Though is that doesn't get called, but Auburn would be back behind the chains.
Because Auburn is in a position where, and they put themselves there. I'm not saying it's right. Because they haven't earned their crappiness where they are, but you got a 7-2 team at home, and the SEC's thinking about if they lose to this Auburn team, that's another potential playoff team gone. So, that to me is there's no part of me that doesn't believe that there is certain times in games, because if you throw that flag, Faith, now it's 1st and 20 from the 10. And maybe you don't. And look, DJ Durkin said it in the postgame to me when I asked him about why were we not better on third downs in the second half than in the first half. He said, well, a lot of that is dictated about what you do on first down. And he's so right about that. So if Vanderbilt's 1st and 20 from the 10, now maybe they still get the first down, and that's fine. But my point is, that guy, I watched him look at the play. Okay, hey, y'all can say whatever the hell you want to say. I was there. I was 20 yards from the play. I looked at him. The son of a gun, unless he's completely and totally nearsighted, he saw what I saw. He saw what you saw, Faith. I looked at you. I said, hey, he just chose not to throw it. And I know that goes on. And I got a bunch of official friends, and you know that, Faith, and some work in the SEC. Right? So that's, to me, one of the things that you look at. So, all right, Case wants me to address the issues of Xavier Chaplin, the coaching staff. I said it to you Saturday. What are they doing to help him be better? And, Jason said this yesterday. When we got out of tempo, when we were in tempo, we didn't have these mistakes. When we got back out of tempo and we were coming to the line and we were making decisions, that's when we had our false starts. That's when we had our timing was off. I think this team is just way better when they get to the line of scrimmage, Faith, and snap the football. And they go, and guess what you also do? You neutralize the defense. The defense doesn't have a time to react or make adjustments when you're getting to the line of scrimmage. I just think that the personality of this team, and you and I said it on this show every week, that the most we see in period 5, where is that in the games? And we finally saw it Saturday in the game, Faith, and guess what? We put up a record number of yards.
It worked. My gosh.
So I'm sorry to have gone on a diatribe, but I'm also trying to help you save your voice a little bit.
I appreciate you.
No, but I mean, just your take on that. I mean, it just seems like Derek Nix just implemented what he saw in practice that worked and said, we're going to actually do that in a game.
Not only that he saw what worked, but he was able to accommodate to what Vandy's defense was doing and do what was working for Auburn's offense, not just trying the same thing that wasn't working over and over again. And that's what a good offensive coordinator does, is say, hey, this isn't working. Let's try something else. This is working. Let's keep doing this. Hey, let's use these players that have so much talent and actually give them a chance at these 50-50 balls.
I mean, you
what an idea.
Right. And you hurt yourself. That's, again, goes back to the whole theme of what we're talking about this morning. So, Stephen, he said in his opinion, playoff teams are protected. That is my point exactly on what I saw in that one particular call. Now, again, that's all conspiracy theory stuff, and people can agree or disagree, whatever. But if Vanderbilt loses to Auburn in that game, they're out. They're out. That's third loss. They lost to a bad Auburn team. They're done. Guess what? They aren't. They're not done. They're 8-2 with Kentucky and Tennessee, who are very winnable. You don't think that's a storyline? You don't think that Vanderbilt going and winning 10 football games this year and going to the playoffs isn't a storyline? You're crazy. You think Auburn going to come in there and ruin that? Now, again, Auburn had the lead. Auburn had opportunities, but you can control things in a 12-3 penalty discrepancy. Just that's why people say the things they say, and that's why we're even talking about on the show, because there's no way, and even heard a couple of national pundits say that it's impossible for a team to go an entire game and not get called for a holding penalty somewhere. Now, Auburn earned all theirs. My God. Preston Howard, the hold in the middle of the field on Ashton Daniels' touchdown may be one of the dumbest holding, and he did it. Now, he just didn't hold him. He bear hugged him. He bear hugged a guy that didn't even know where the damn football was, Faith. Like, Ashton Daniels had already passed him. That guy was turned around. Like, there's no way he could have made the play. He held a guy that was completely non-essential to the play. It's just, and again, I don't want to bash kids, but it just seems like every time his name's brought up, it's something bad. Oh, he dropped a pass. Oh, he false started. Oh, he wasn't on the line of scrimmage. Oh, he held. Like, I hate it, but you got to be better in this. If you're a D1 major SEC football player, you got to be better. And here's another thing. Is that all we've got to run out there? And I know we've got some injuries at tight end, but there is a clear drop-off. Clear drop-off from 1 to 2 if he's our 2. So I want the kid to be good. You want the kid to be good, but it ain't working. So, and it's a liability when he's out there, period. Like, people can say what they want. I know we had 12 penalties, probably should have had 13, because on the Ashton Daniels touchdown, the last one I think he scored,
we were waiting for it to get called back.
Well, he tackled him, Faith. He tackled the Vanderbilt defender. They just didn't call it. So, that kind of contradicts the whole conspiracy theory thing that we just went through, because unless they just didn't absolutely see it, because he was engaged and then he took him to the ground, and technically that should have been a holding call. So, look, we try to call it like we see it, the good and the bad, but he cost Auburn 4 points before halftime. Could have been up 24-10 instead of 20-10. Now, would that have mattered? I don't know. There's 4 more points. It would definitely made a difference. So, all right, a lot to discuss. Again, just kind of gave you off the surface what we thought about head coaches' potentials for, Auburn moving forward. The more information we get, of course, we're going to share it. If we get anything specific, we'll absolutely share it. So, So make sure you keep coming back. We'll have the info for you. I promise. We'll throw it out there. All right. Old Number One Customs for your bathroom, kitchen, bedroom, outdoor living space. If you need it remodeled, you need one built, you need an addition on your home. Old Number One Customs is the place to go. Go check it out on my Instagram and my Facebook page. The before and after video. I mean, it is remarkable. We love that bathroom down there. I mean, it's it's the place to be in our house now. 334-752-6162. Just unbelievable work. Great people coming in working for them. You need to give them a call today for your next renovation or remodel.
JFA Blue Plumbing, go ahead and get the Home Atlas Water Filter Duo for just $15.99. Filtered water provides health benefits like removing hard contaminants like lead and chlorine. It improves the taste. And it's honestly, it's saving you money by not buying bottled water. It also improves digestion, enhances skin and hair. I mean, a lot of benefits from having filtered water. And so you got to go ahead and just get JFA to install that Home Atlas Water Filter Duo.
Absolutely.
For JFA Blue.
Absolutely. Oh, and then Oliver Ross, I'm going to help you out a little bit. Faith, Oliver Ross, the full licensed and experienced bartending service. They are the best in the business. And we witnessed it from weddings to tailgates to parties of 20 up to 20,000. Oliver Ross is where you need to go. And if you're going to have a party this holiday, you need to be looking them up. I'm being serious. I don't know what you're waiting on. They're booking up. They'll come out. They'll handle it from start to finish. You won't even have to worry about anything. You tell them what you want. The wine selection, the liquor selection, the beer selection, they'll have it all, and they'll come bring it, set it up, and then be gone at the end of the party, and you didn't have to do anything but pay them. And guess what? You'll be glad you did, because you don't have to worry about all that other stuff going on. So check out Oliver Ross on Instagram and Facebook and book them for your next party or whatever it is that you got going on. The Cart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore with E-Z-GO, Cushman, Yamaha, Club Car. They have it all. And I say this to everybody. Go by right there on 280. You can see them if you're heading from Auburn toward Birmingham, right there before you get to Dayville on the left, and you go, my gosh, I've never seen that many golf carts in my life. If they don't have something that you like on that lot, then you're the pickiest person on the planet. But guess what? If you are the pickiest person on the planet, they can order you one, custom made, like you want it. So there's no fret there. So go check out Alabama's premier golf cart superstore, the Cart Source. Go check out, go tell Harrison that we sent you there from the Auburn Blitz. Hey, it's Christmas time coming up. I know there's a lot of people that love, and the prices, let me just say this. Faith and I were blown away by the prices in a good way. Like some of those golf carts I was looking at, I'm like, man, that's got to be X number of dollars. He's like, no, it's this. I'm like, you kidding? Like, so it is very affordable. New and used ones, all the different types they have. Go check them out. The Cart Source in Dayville, Alabama. So, all right. We got some work to do today. We got a lot going on. We got basketball tonight. So Auburn will be back in Neville Arena. You and I will be there for that. So excited to see Auburn take on Wofford. Then they've got coming up on Sunday, they got Houston in Birmingham. So big basketball game there in Birmingham at Legacy Arena. I know a lot of people will be going to that game. So it's going to be an exciting environment with Houston being number 2 in the country. Auburn dropped to 22. They dropped a couple spots. Who cares? Like, just go play basketball. Get better. Working on a really good interview with you and a undisclosed player at this moment. So hopefully that's going to work out. And we'll hopefully have some more information to announce.
Yes. And so one more time, if anybody has any recommendations in Auburn for me to get my car window, my passenger window fixed, please drop them in the comments below, because I need some recs of where to go to get my window fixed.
We're gonna get that window fixed. It's gonna get taken care of. Don't worry about it. Now that hotel is gonna take care of that window.
It is, but I still would love have some recs up where I can go so that everything's gonna work out good.
Absolutely. No doubt. All right, Stephen, we appreciate you for the kind comments. Yes, we're here every day for you guys. And again, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please go out there and hit the subscribe button. And we would appreciate so much if you hit the like button as well. It helps us out tremendously. It helps us keep rolling and doing what we're doing. So many of you have done that already, and we want you to keep doing that. Keep showing up for us and comments over there. You make the show what it is, definitely. So, all right, Faith, send us out.
I hope everybody has the best day ever.
Absolutely. Be good to people out there, and we will see you tomorrow for more of the Auburn Blitz.